Beep boop, I think we are live. Hi everyone. Is it picking up correctly on my music? Can you guys still hear my sound? Yep, there we go. So first of all, good evening everyone. I'm glad you could join us. So today I'll probably just be painting casually and quickly because I want to get this painted up for my personal use and for the shop. So some of you, if you're here from Discord or whatever, just say hi. But I'll be talking a little bit less and hopefully painting more. Though as we know how my plans normally go. Might not end up that way. Okay. Let's get a quick start in painting with the rhino. I'm feeling a little sleepy tonight, so I'm gonna find some music that's a bit more upbeat. I like to blame the cold weather. Gummy Bears theme. I'm not sure I can play that on the stream without getting in trouble. Okay, so I know it's near the end of the year, so it's about time to start playing some upbeat holiday music that I'm sure everyone can enjoy. Prime ads, yes. Unfortunately. What the heck is this? Can you guys hear this? I'm not sure what's playing in my headset, but it sounds like... I don't know. There are no words. Okay, no, goodbye. Not this song. I cannot. This should be better, I'm sure.
Okay, Carol of the Bells remix. Yeah, can you guys hear this better, I guess? Either way, it's just background music. You can. Okay, can I get a white somewhere in here? Bright warm gray. Okay, so other than the fact that rhinos are gray, I have no idea what color a rhino should be for its other parts. Like, I'm pretty sure there's some pink flesh tone somewhere in there. I'm just not quite sure what I should be using. Hey, Maku Purata. Thanks for the follow. Please come say hi in chat. And welcome. Today I'm testing myself on what colors animals are. Try not to laugh at me. Okay, let's start with some dark neutral gray. I can't go wrong with grey in a rhino, right? Is that so? Hey! I'm not sure I recognize the username Maku Purata though. But I'm really bad with names, so that's to be expected. Okay, I kind of like the grey you're putting down here. I'm putting paint on super thickly, but still using a wet palette because using paint direct from the pot like a savage is not a good idea. I do have to say that the worst thing about this holiday season is that you get stuck with the never-ending Christmas playlist. And sometimes just the same song over and over again everywhere you go. And like, I think the worst experience I had with that was when I went to an amusement park, which had a really long elevator going up and down
the mountain that the park was built on, or the cliff, and going up and down the escalator was about 10 to 15 minutes of listening to Jingle Bells. Just not even like a different song, just Jingle Bells, the same version on repeat. Yeah, I mentioned if you work retail, you can probably memorize the order of the songs in the playlist by the end of the day. I mean, on its own, it's a great song because it's so easy to get stuck in your head, but I'm so sick of it. Oh, you know, Mariah Carey. Oh no. Yeah, country music has changed a lot over the years and has some strange variations in recent years. After a while, I guess you can just offer to help them out by adding more songs to the playlist. I like Carol of the Bells. You haven't heard any Christmas songs in malls yet? Oh, you are lucky. Grandma got run over by a reindeer. Sure, why not? I think I've heard someone mention it before, but I never actually heard this song, so maybe I will. I try to go with more instrumental songs when I'm working on stuff. Because if I play actual songs on my normal playlist, I start singing along. And that can get very distracting. Rhino? No. Single rhino. One rhino. A lonely rhino boy. This isn't the best print though. It was from before I swapped out my magnetic plate, so he has a few strange lines, but most of those can be mistaken as the usual rhino skin texture. Hey. You see, when you tell me rhino, I think of Warframe. Which is quite funny because I had a friend that played Warframe and he would only play Rhino until Rhino Prime was released. And because of that, he had really terrible mastery ranks. So we had to kinda carry him around leveling him when he did anything other than Rhino because he would do things like run straight into a rocket barrage. As you know, Rhino players are not always the smartest. Spider-Man Rhino is super different. No, real talk though, like Warframe is really interesting because you can tell how people think and play from their favorite Warframes. It's just like how in D&D, the way someone plays or the way they approach a game gives you a lot of insight into the character. Or like Magic, where your favorite colors say a lot about your character. It's why I find it really interesting to do Magic the Gathering personality tests, where they pick your favorite colors. Don't remind me. Hey, Obstacle was pretty meta for a while, strong. I'm the one that will play the off meta stuff like my Castanas. Oh, that's ridiculous. My problem with the Opticore is that often the people that use Opticores cannot aim. And it's always the people that can't aim that insist on playing them. Right. Okay, no. I can't take it. Too much Jingle Bell. Goodbye. I am changing the station. Let's see. Let's go with some techno. Yeah, see, like at least when you go back into Warframe, you are leveled enough you can kind of do whatever you want to do. But it's very hard to get a strong sense of progression because you're just grinding for faction rep or whatever new consumables are required for stuff. It is a great game though, don't get me wrong. Okay, Rhino. There you go. I shall use Ivory to paint your horn. Probably a little bit of golden brown in there, maybe. A mahogany. I think the most fun I had in Warframe were just sorties that had the weirdest conditions. Except for when you were trying to rush the weekly sorties and then someone's just dumb. It makes everyone fail multiple times. Yes, well, Crimson is a whole new level of blur. Yeah, that's true, but once you learn the spy missions, you don't even need to actually have a stealth frame to run them. Like that's what I like about spy missions. So like other than spy capture are my favorite things to do for keys. Just use Ivara and then just walk straight through everything, right? And then run out of energy and end up uncloaking in front of a sensor and then have to run through everything anyway. Actually, I used to run spy missions on my Rhino. Because you can just run through all the laser beams. Spoiler mode indeed.
But hey, if you run out of Rhino, you went through everything, and then you stomp everyone in the vault. With enough energy, you can just Puma Stomp. Which is what my Rhino was spec for. That's what I would run when helping noobs out. I think it was using the Fracturing Stomp mod as well. That's really useful. I mean, funnily enough, I had the most fun in Warframe by coming up with silly ways to get around all the requirements, such as like no melee weapons. Sure. Brings Excalibur. No range weapons? Sure. Brings Mesa. I mean, what's there to Warframe is just not grinding though? Story's great, but like, so much grinding. Good music, I guess. Speaking of music, I think my favorite Warframe to run around with pups is still Octavia. At this time of the year. So we once had a sortie where we were stuck for, I think it was a 40-minute long survival. No, defense. Defense. And so before it started, I went and changed my Octavia's color scheme to red and green. And changed the song to something that I had saved ahead of time. And basically, once everyone had loaded in and had started the sortie, and there was no time to change frames or to restart the sortie, started playing Jingle Bells on repeat for 40 minutes. It was glorious. I'm gonna blend that later. Okay, so I'm pretty sure like this part should have a little bit of pink in there. So I'm gonna grab some skin tones. Maybe use a smaller brush for that.
Speaking of playing Warframe, do you guys remember what that weapon was that you wore as like gauntlets on your fists that Crimson kept using back in the day? Was it Statical? Oh wow, he actually remembers it. Yeah, yeah. That was the worst. It was really the worst. Especially when you play with him. Yes, the problem is that you would kill yourself. And then everyone else when you got irradiated. Never learned how to use anything else either. It was just stand at ground and fire. I was just like, why is this guy walking around so slowly? Radiate extraction. The weapon is great, the player wasn't. I remember when he downed the defense target because we were supposed to save the target and protect him, and then he got irradiated, and he ran straight over to the target and started punching at the floor. And we felt like the salty twice in a row because of that. So, but it's my weakest DPS weapon. Yes, to everyone else. Thank you very much. I died so hard I couldn't even be revived. That's true, that's true. Big damage. Including to your friends. And that's when we kick him out of the group and go and insult you, Owen. Which I think happened a couple of times after getting so annoyed. Oh, you wanna share the love? One really fun one is when your Nyx gets irradiated and then uses her ult. There is no progress on the Rhino, therefore you don't need to see anything. I'm currently just cleaning off my paintbrush. There we go. And it kind of looks like the Rhino is trying to have a bit of makeup, which is cute. So here, bro. I'll get you some eye shadow. And I think you'll likely find that this will not look very much like an actual rhino after I'm done painting it. Because I did not do my research, I did not check what actual rhinos look like. I'll put out a reference image for it. If there's anyone in the chat that isn't a rhino expert, I'm sorry. But think about it this way, it could be worse. It could be crimson painting this. Like right now, to me, this rhino looks like the kind of rhino that would run in, trigger every alarm in the spy animation. Like, don't worry, guys, I got this. I can run through the lasers. And then they jump off and parkour straight into a pit and then die. And before they can come back, they've already failed the spy vault. Exactly that kind of rhino. I do think I should get a slightly darker flesh tone though, so I can do the underbelly of the rhino. Some shadow flesh color. Oh, anyway, Trombe, since you bought your own paint set, the Army Painter one, I think, do you have any questions for me on like how to use them? And congrats on your first paint set. Next time, pick the ones that are in D&D branded because they're worth more that way. Ain't that the truth right there? Okay, so I have some bright ivory. How about some normal ivory? But it's not about my entertainment, so I'm making sure that you have a fun painting experience. So like Army Painter, for example, has a tendency to separate. So you will want to have some mixing bowls or something, put them in your paint and shake them like a lot every time you use them. If you try and get the paint out of the bottle without shaking them, you're gonna get a lot of medium. And you're gonna wonder why you can't paint anything. That's because there's no pigment in there at all. It is a good paint brand. Does what have to be metal? Oh yeah, I like glass. If they are metal, you need to have something that is properly rated, because a lot of stainless steel isn't really stainless steel, and after a while it starts rusting in there. Like some people, they use like the BB bullets, and that doesn't always work out well because they're not always properly stainless steel. And I have no idea how to paint this rhino. Let's wet blend something. Put more paint on it. And that's how it works, right? Take paint direct from pot, plop on rhino. Okay, done. And then drop it. Because what's painting about dropping the miniature painting? The thicker the better. Yeah, that's true. And if you put the paint on thicker, it covers the imperfections, right? And that was just painful to say. I will say that a very important step in preparing a mini for paint is to wash it with some soapy water. Because there were times where I had issues getting my paint to stick, and that was just because whatever I was painting wasn't clean enough of oil or grime or whatever. And so the paint wasn't sticking. Especially if what you're painting is resin cast. Not painted, resin cast. Though given that it's a holiday season, so Phantasm and I was talking that day about opening up commissions for painted character minis as well as like custom stuff. So I think that maybe sometime next week it's gonna go up. And we'll be providing our painting services for anyone that wants stuff painted. At the same time, I'll probably be putting up some pre-painted things on my store that's priced a bit more fairly so that dungeon masters that don't paint can still get access to stuff that's painted decently. Like I'm not gonna say I'm a godlike painter, but if I want to put something on the table, it has to hit a certain standard of paint before I'm willing to put it on there. So yeah, hopefully that's something that can help some local dungeon masters out, or even some of our friends from around the world. Time to clear backlog. Well, I think you have quite a lot of things to paint. As for me, my backlog is um I've kind of given up on trying to complete my backlog. I'll just be happy having painted stuff to a decent standard. Okay. So I recall the joints of the rhino. So what if where the skin's a little bit saggy, it tends to have pinkish or more skin colored things. Or I might be thinking of a hippo, in which case I'll be very sad. But I'm sure that if I put this on the table, everyone would know it's a rhino, right? That's the important thing. Is it recognizable? And does it not look like it was painted by an aspiring finger painter who's like 10 and also has no brush control. Hopefully not. Though I should also be opening up some painting classes soon for people that just want to try it out with their friends. Like hopefully it's something you can get more people to try out because it's quite fun. And it's really not that hard to do. As long as you don't rage quit halfway. Speaking of which, Mr. Phantasm, where is Strut, Strut, and Strut? Where are the progress pictures? With their base coats? Okay. If Strut becomes a table, I'll be very concerned. Okay, it's time to do something horrible and YOLO! Let's get some volumes in here. Woo. Okay, when it's not in focus, it looks like a cow. Right. Thankfully that did not summon the cow. See, the thing about Strut is not having Strut around is scarier than actually seeing Strut. For anyone that's actually played COS. But from what I hear, COS is the highest cost of TPKs for new BDMs. Doesn't surprise me. It's super horribly messy undercoating job. We now take the original color and just go back in. Still mixing color. Swap to size 3 brush for this. Actually back to size 4. I guess that That's just like one encounter. I mean, like COS as a whole tends to really cause TPKs. Like if the gauntlet ambush, you're likely to die because people don't know that when you reach 0 HP, you're just unconscious. Just go, oh, I'm at 0 HP, I'm dead. Okay, guys, I can respawn. Wait, there are no respawns in this game? Okay. 1 TPK later. I mean, I think Tomb kills people a lot more often, but COS is more likely to TPK them. Because generally people don't expect that they are gonna die if they go into what called Tomb of Annihilation. Sounds scary. People don't know how to run away. They think that if they're encountering it at their current level, it must be a combat that they can win. And then, or you just run away from everything because they are scared. There's no in between. But I know that a lot of people going, hey, Curse of Strahd sounds really fun. Ooh, Gothic. Ooh, Vampire. This sounds really good. And then bad things happen. Yeah, I find that sometimes they start out to rush into doing combat, and then they do 1 or 2 combats, get wrecked, and then they spend the entirety of the rest of the campaign running away from everything, even when they can take it, because of that early experience where they became complete cowards after. Heart of the Dragon Queen, yeah, it can be quite punishing, yes. And to be honest, it's not one of the modules that I would run myself, because if you have people that don't know what they're doing, they are just asking to die. And it's not very interesting either. It's just a dungeon crawl. I mean, yes, dragons, but also no dungeon crawl. It's not newbie friendly to DMs or to players. But it's also one of the first hardcovers, if not the first. So that's when they were still new to 5th Ed, and they've changed a lot of things since then. It's like how my personal favorite is Out of the Abyss, but It's not a newbie DM friendly module. Because there are a lot of skills that you need to pick up from experience as a DM that don't come as naturally if not the kind of person that doesn't think a lot about what you're running and how you're running it. Hey, I'm a newbie DM. What do I know? If you want an assault on the town, I think that beyond that, you should be reading the Panest epic. Yep. It's way better reference. See, an assault on a town isn't hard to do. An assault on a town where players have things that they can do to change that or work around that is an entirely different scenario, and I don't think it's something that is really well done in Reign of the Dragon Queen. Like, the only reason for me I would run it is because I wanted to run Rise of Tiamat after. Because Dragon Mummy did nothing wrong. And behold, the cow has arrived. I see the call of your fellow Horn friend has summoned you. Look at how rough this is, especially if the highlight tells doing. I would have dry brush this, but there are some lines that are left over from 3D printing, so I need to hide those, so I have to wet blend everything instead. And that is one horn thing, yes. Technically it has two horns. I guess you can kind of see it starting to come together. Though it definitely needs a bit of a wash or some blending. Get a little bit of pink in there, put that. What do rhinoceros horns? What do rhinoceros eyes look like? Yes, it is in fact the perfect place to hide it. Not that it actually really matters that much, because I'm just using like a few colors. Okay, there we go. It's easier. Like, if you want to know what colors I use, just let me know in chat. I can show off the paint anytime. I see, as I spend some time looking for where my transparent black went to. Maybe I should use a dark brown instead. I'll just use black. Thin that down. Like, as far as town sieges go, I don't actually really enjoy them that much, because they tend to just descend into combat. And it can be really hard for a DM to keep up the pace of the combat, as well as describing what happens, without it getting very long and draggy. Especially when players are not very inventive. If you want to make a town siege interesting, you need players that have really cool ideas, that come up with ways to use that environment, or traps. But you will find that most players are actually just not, I would say, maybe as well read or well learned. You see, I'm just blackwashing it right now to bring out the wrinkles. Like, when it comes to siege warfare, and I actually have players that know what they're talking about, it's a totally different experience. Like, most of the time, I see players have to be directed around and corrected by NPCs, even though they should know what they can and cannot do. And that's pretty sad. You bought malt wine tea? Yes. That would be excellent. I look forward to it. Or hear the cow. Bringer of tea. Soon. Oh, speaking of meeting up for D&D though, we should be running games next weekend. Is it next weekend? It's next weekend. Because there will be a beginner's activity for Dungeons and Dragons. And we'll be partnering with some of the local brands as well to do something for D&D, to bring in as many new people to D&D as we can. So if there are friends of yours that want to play D&D in person, next weekend is a good time. But sadly, because I'll be running D&D or working on D&D stuff, I wouldn't be able to stream next week. So you'll be down one session of me painting things badly. How sad. What a loss. Excuse me. No, I don't think people care very much about meeting me. I think we're gonna have lots of people that really want to meet the one and only Crimson. There's a chance to play at his table. And Crimson's probably just ignoring us right now. Or falling asleep. Either or. But we were working on some plans for it, and I think it'll be pretty fun because there's a good chance that you get to play his latest adventure. And because he'll be in person, a lot of the design puzzles and such are a lot more interesting and interactive to play. But I won't spoil you guys any further. I will say that if you want to hear Crimson go Nia and Neo in person, that is an excellent chance. Strange animal noises. Who makes those? Alpha? Crimson Alpha? I'm not sure I would use that word, but if it floats your boat, sure. Okay, I'm just gonna let this guy drive a little bit. Like stop handling it and rubbing the wash off it. Ah! Stay. Okay, stay. And I'll be working on the wild boar next. If you have played New War as much as I have, you're probably sick of seeing this. I don't think it's usually spelled like that. I mean, first of all, it's spelled differently. Second of all, what the heck? You don't realize that apparently people are scared of me or something. Oh. Would have thought. Not that excited to see me or anything. Like I said, they're all just here for Crimson. Look at how thickly I'm putting that paint on. If I put it on thickly enough, I can become an eBay pro painter. I mean, that's basically senpai and kohai in Japanese. Stop being a korebu and calling people strange titles. Yeah, see, the problem is that most of these players are older than I am. So calling me big sister just sounds like they're in the mafia. Like, in fact, there are very few players I would know that can actually call me that and get away with it. Did they get away with it though? Well, our game is the day after. So there's a chance that you might get it in time to actually use. Uh-huh. Just killed little wobble. What color is the skin of a wobble? Black? Is it like Iberico pork? I'm not asking about what their fur color is though, like the skin color. Like what color is the skin under the fur? As for the ones that never fall, they are my sworn enemies, and I'll slaughter them when I see them. Okay, I can dry. Next, go back to my rhino. Oh, it doesn't look entirely horrible. Hey, Zalk! And an unexpected visitor. Hello, hello. Should you not be playing New Ball at this time? Okay, I think it looks like the black on the eyes has almost dried. So I'm gonna go in and do a reflex dot for the eyes. Okay, I have a feeling I'm gonna mess this up, so wish me luck while I hold my breath and do my very best to not screw up here. Let me dot this, dot this. Yes! One dot, okay. That looks fine on one side. Now watch me fuck it up on the other side. Ah! Well, it's nice of Sylph to do a shout out for me. Thank you, Sylph, if you're listening to this. And thank you. Sadly, this Rhino cannot play Warframe. But I would like to think that he would look decent on the table when I'm playing D&D. Okay, I think that should be alright for now. Okay, now I can breathe again. Like, I don't know about you guys, but despite having practiced a lot about painting, it's still pretty scary for me to do ice. So every single time, I'm gonna hold my breath and do my best. It does get easier with practice, but still scary. I did not paint a line, I did a dot. And I'm proud of myself. Oh, wait, that's my warm grey, no, wrong color. Go back. I mean, if you expect memes in here, you can expect lots of D&D memes. Because I normally troll all the time. I'm playing D&D. It's very rare to find me playing anything seriously, to be honest. Why so serious exactly? Besides, if it's scary when I get serious, then I can just not play seriously at all and no one can get scared. Problem solved. It's not always a good thing though, because I have this habit of being really lazy when I play, or even when I DM. Unless like I'm really interested in what I'm writing or what I'm doing, and then I put in full effort for that. Okay, look at his teeny little face. Look at that little eye dot. I'm so proud of myself. I can dot things now, guys. Just need to do a little bit of clean up. Blending on here. I have become a dotter of things. Yeah. Please send your prayers when I dot things. It's normally required. Dots and prayers are always appreciated. rhino kind of dinosaurs. And now back to our favorite creature from New World. And by favorite, I kind of mean least favorite. Wild Warlockers? Do you mean stand still while casting things and then die? As I seem to recall a lot of Warthog playing like that. Okay, let's open. I don't tend to like Warlock players a lot. Because I don't find decent Warlock players. But I have high standards, you know, given that I play with Crimson. Of course, that's only in WoW. If you play him in other MMOs, good luck. Maybe some of our friends that play FF14 with him might have other feedback. But having played Warframe, DDO, what other games have we played? Terra? You will have a very different opinion of Crimson after. Sims 4 is not an MMO. Yes. Upside down smiley face me. But who's the one that kept setting off traps in DDO? And they're supposed to defuse them. And spend all the money I gave you for remove curse potions on buying gear on the auction house instead. Never forget. Never forgive. If the question is whether or not you should buy some fabric, the answer is always yes. If the question is whether or not you need more fabric, then that's a different answer altogether. Remember, whether it's gaming or any kind of hobby, collecting hobby supplies and collecting games or collecting fabric or paint is entirely different from actually using it. I say, as I click through things in Steam Summer Sale. Sorry, Steam Autumn Sale. I noticed Deep Rock Galactic is going for like 50% off. So that's also a pretty good deal. Not that I played the game. Aha, apparently Phantasm sent me a work in progress picture of Strut. Good job, well done. So I guess that by the time I end this stream, it should be finished. Yes? I look forward to it. Look at this pig and how lovely brown it is. So adorable. Okay, given that this is a pig and it's a miniature, so like miniatures are toys that you can play with, like dolls. Would this mean that this pig is a Barbie doll? It is, right? Totally. DM, can I get inspiration for that? Oh wait, I'm the DM. Well. Well, if you are watching the stream and you use this miniature as a well-shaped miniature, and you make that pan, I will give you inspiration. Bacon is delicious. One paint in a super chunky way. I think most painters at this point would kind of just go with some dry brush highlights. I totally should as well, because this miniature doesn't have any lines. But my biggest problem is that I left my dry brush in the corner somewhere and I don't know where it is. Therefore, I have no choice but to wet blend everything. The real secret to painting is that I'm lazy. So, I'll just super bright highlights come in, and then they all disappear. Do I have to say that now I'm craving bacon? Seriously. Want to buy bacon? Like, I don't know. Bacon mac and cheese? Sounds really good right now. Or the bacon and cheese hot dog from Five Guys. That's good stuff. I think that by the time I'm done with the stream, Five Guys is already closed. Sets. I don't know. What's your favorite way to eat bacon, guys? I like bacon hot dogs, bacon mac and cheese, bacon and burgers. And why is it that every time I stream it, I'm talking about food? Okay. Just a little bit of brown on the tusks. And then some ivory. And what's the time? Oh, I should probably stop and take a drink. And though the pig's not looking too bad. His sharp little teeth. His little teeth. Right, his little face just ready to charge at you while you're harvesting and interrupt your herb gathering. Adorable. Hello, John. I'm glad you could make it for the stream. Hello. I am painting Wildshapes tonight. Oh, look at him. Look at the face. It's adorable. It's so ugly, it's cute. And same for this guy, so I'm gonna black out his eye first. Just put a little dot later. That's true, you can always watch a stream in the background. as you're watching football. Especially when one's on the computer and you're watching a stream on the phone. I mean, either way, it's really great that you guys are coming on to tune into the stream. Because we've managed to hit 100 followers already, and I don't think that would have been possible without everyone's help and support. So thank you guys. As for whether or not we're going to do something now that we've hit 100 followers, then that would depend. I'm just mixing a little bit of black into the mahogany and using that to paint the hoops, I guess. Getting a little bit of that flash tone in the ears. Look at his little face. Oops. Get a bit of my burnt sienna and a little bit of the, I guess, of the ivory. And mixing the highlight color for that. So normally with every miniature that you paint, you want a bit more focus around the face of the miniature. So you tend to highlight a little brighter there. Here's what I'm going to do now, kind of just drawing some really thin lines around the eyes of the pig. Is it well done? No, not really. But it's also just a pig. It might also be a droid, but well. If it's a druid, then you can paint it better yourself. Okay, let's go back. Slightly dark color. Let's get this. It's kind of cute in that but ugly kind of way. Like a pug. Pugs are indeed ugly but adorable. Pug ball. I guess it's like ball simulator played with pickup groups. Pug ball. Okay, pug ball. I'll put you down and I'm going to wash off my brush and get ready to hold my breath. I think that rather than using the ivory or even the bright ivory, I should use some pure white so that it looks as bright as possible. So I'm gonna fall back on my trusty pure white. Look at that. See, look at the palette, like this white is clearly the brightest. It probably scored all A stars for its exams. Komodo dragon next. I mean, I know it's a goat simulator. I don't know if it's an actual ball simulator. I would like to know as well. So if you find out, let me know in chat. Disclaimer. Komodo dragon, not actual dragon. Okay. Deep breath. Look at that. It's an evil little eye. The glint in its eye as it decides, hey, you know, this level 60 or level 50 something character is clearly the best person to charge. I am a boar. What am I scared of? Okay, I should make that dot a little bigger. I'm kind of see. Okay. There we go. I got a glint in his eyes. Look at that dot. Well done, me. Going to just draw a few quick lines on here. So this is the part of adding texture that you can really do if you have a bit more time, where you can just draw lines on fur in the direction that the hair goes in. And this works whether or not the fur is actually sculpted on. So absolutely do this if you have the time for it, because it makes it look a lot better. Next up, we have my little lizarding friend, Komodo dragon. Just put a little bit more. Just a little more highlights. Just a little bit more time. And then I proceed to paint until it's 12 midnight and miss the last bus to go home. Okay, just a little bit of flash tones on here. It's a bit messy. Clean that off. Get my mahogany again and blend. Okay, wobble. Gonna kind of hit some of the edges of the fur further down. So it's not all one color. Though I will say that if you are painting quickly and you are painting animals, learning how to dry brush is going to be an amazing technique for you to use, especially if you're a dungeon master. So I do recommend picking that up and not being too lazy to find your dry brush like I am. Okay, so also to our links, T-posing eagle, and Komodo dragon friend. I think he looks pretty good. So most Komodo dragons are actually really boring shades of like olive or brown or green. And I guess we could do that. But what's life without a bit of excitement? So let's go for some crazy red colors on this guy. And help me pick a color. Any color. Like, go crazy, guys. Does anyone have any ideas? So let me paint in some stripes first. Hmm. Maybe I could make him have tiger stripes. Sure, why not? Okay, so purple, blue, red, yellow and green. Actually, instead of green, let's swap that out. Let's go with pink. It's gonna look so weird. Mm-hmm. Someone roll a d6. Who would like to do the honors? Man, it looks like I'm striping him like a zebra. A 4. No! Why did I pick yellow? Alright, so yellow. Can we get one more person to roll a d6? Anyone, come on. My least favorite color. Do you know that a lot of commission painters, if you want them to paint something white or yellow, they charge extra? That's a good idea, we should charge extra too. Ah, yellow. No, we can have one more person? Or if Trombe would like to roll again, by all means. If not, feel free to make someone else roll. Not a big deal, I'm just gonna blame you if the color scheme doesn't turn out well. We have a couple of new people who just joined us. Alright, come on guys, don't be shy. Just type !D6 in chat. Yeah. I like putting all the guesswork of picking colors into my viewers. It makes me confident that I'm less bad at this painting thing. Daya Carl has voted a 5. And what's a 5? A 5 is pink. Huh. So I'm going to be painting this poor bugger. Pink and yellow. That sounds about right. I'm sorry, my lizard friend. I'm going to have a paint job like some little kid. Pick your colors. But believe it or not, pink and yellow actually go really well together. And in fact, the secret to painting a really nice yellow is to go pink first. So with this in mind, I'm actually going to take out some paints I don't really use very often. Let's get some magenta in the house and a true red. So let me shake the heck out of this. Shaking it like a Polaroid picture. I hope that it's mixed enough. It's a Chimera red. True red. Ah! Okay. It's a bit liquidy, so I'm not sure if it's alright, but I think it may have a little bit too much medium in there, but it's still a really bright red, so let's just go with that. Yeah, it's a little bit too thin down. So painting red over a color, over a dark gray, especially a bluish gray like this is kind of a pain. But we can deal with the pain. Because what is life but pain? Also pain. Painting yellow is pain. Pain. Mm. Red's not bad. Even though I'm just really testing it out. I haven't really used it that much. Let's try another red. So, as someone that collects way more paints than I actually paint with, I I'm taking this as a chance to try out some of my paint colors that I've not actually used or even opened in some cases. That's a lovely magenta. Beautiful color. And I have some bold pyro red here. So the pyro red is, I believe, a kind of red. It's a color name for the pigment, which is why if you compare this red to the other red that's made using the same pigment, it's actually really similar in color. And normally red can be either one of the easiest to paint or the hardest to paint because it is coverage on this is pretty good. It's a very translucent color. So if you're a newbie to painting, you're gonna put some red paint down and go, why can't I seem to get a nice even coat of red? Why does it look so bad? And that's actually just the nature of the paint that you're using. It's nothing actually to do with, your painting style. Okay, it might something to do with your painting style, or even the fact that you didn't shake your paints enough, but if you're painting red and you think that it's not quite the color that you want it to be, then the trick is to either mix some other color in with it that's more coverage, like a white or a brown, and do more layers of color. Like, don't be afraid to spend more time on it. Thankfully, red tends to have better coverage than yellow. Yellow is just the all-time #1 winner of I'm a pain in the ass to paint. Have I mentioned that I don't like painting yellow? So I don't like painting yellow. But normally if I'm painting red, my advice is to get some brown or something and just paint that as the base first and then layer your red over that. Or even paint that entire area white first and then go back in with red. As you can tell, the parts, like compared to the navy grey portion, the parts that I painted white, they're a lot brighter. When I paint over them, the color's a lot more saturated. Can we get it back in focus? Come on. There we go. So red is definitely one of the colors that you need to plan out a bit when you're painting it. You can't just slap the color on like I'm doing right now and expect that it look amazing. And that is the experience of someone that has spent many a times cursing over color choices. And the other question as well that people often always have issues with is that they have issues highlighting red because if you think that you can just add white to every color to highlight it, you're not wrong, but red is often a very, very saturated color. And it looks good when it's bright and saturated. So when you add white to your red paint, it desaturates the red. And that's when you end up with some armor or ropes or whatever that ends up looking pink instead. That's alright in our case because you want stuff to look pink, but if you don't and you want a deep, rich red, you want to be adding orange instead, tiny bits of yellow to your highlights. Like, one of the first mistakes that I made was that when I first started painting, Crimson was encouraging me to paint using the inks that we had because we used them for cosplay in the past. And among those inks, we had some really nice red ink, Crimson, in fact. So because someone else had given me the advice that if I wanted to paint, I should start painting from black, cough, cough, Crimson, because everything looks nicer in black. I did my best to try painting with ink over black, and that was just a terrible experience. Never want to do it again. Okay, I'm adding a little bit of mahogany into the red. But seriously, do not recommend it. Because inks are translucent, red is translucent. Inks plus red equals very, very bad time. So if I had to go back, I wouldn't be using inks at all for painting that part of the miniatures. I'll probably just be using paint. But I would be making sure that as I painted, I was mixing in a bit of yellow with my white if I was using white at all. So that, I don't shift the red too much towards pink. And then I'll likely go back in and when I'm done painting the red for everything else, I would actually use the red ink tank and glaze over whatever I had painted. So that it looks correct. In the meantime though, I'm painting this lizard who's looking very salamanderish right now, I would say. It's adorable. Is it just me or does this song keep playing? Alright, my pink friend. Soon to be pink friend. Let's get some magenta. White. Mix. It's a very nice pink. What? Just go full bright pink. Goodness gracious, look at how pink that is. It's so pink, I don't know what to do with it. Paint pink things. How do you even pink? I'm confused. The age not in me doesn't know what to do. Like for me, when it's pink, it's normally me using it as like a lighting source thing, or when I highlight purple with it. Painting something entirely pink is my eyes, they are burning. But this is actually a really good experience. Because I would never have picked this color scheme if it wasn't voted for me by chat. Thank you, Trombe and Carl. I blame you for this. My eyes, the burning. And so, your shall too. You can kind of already see like the pinkness of it, just a sheer pink. But I do have to say that this magenta is gorgeous. I think I'll probably use it a lot more often. Just mix it into other colors. Oh, and so on. Stealth disadvantage. Or maybe stealth advantage because it's so bright that it blinds you. And then you can just go past in all your glory. While the guards wonder what the heck they just saw. So I'm mixing a little bit of magenta with the red and just going over the underside of this so that it's even more saturated. So terribly pink, I love it. Look at this. Put it next to like the rhino and like look at the color schemes going. A difference in color. Yeah, I guess that it might fit into mushrooms. I could paint the mushrooms a similar color, just in the bright magenta. Like I really like the magenta paint. I just don't normally use it with white or on its own, so it's kind of just an eye opener. And by eye opener, I mean my eyes hurt. But not to forget that we still kind of need to quickly blend in the yellows as well. You can tell that because it's translucent, even with the white, you can still see the underpainting I did underneath with the white stripes. And we're gonna use that as our guide for putting down some yellow. In my style of painting, I rely a lot on underpainting to save time. And also because I don't like blending so much. So underpainting in highlights or some color nuances that I want to see and then painting over them with a different color, especially when I know it's going to be translucent, is a great way for me to add color and visual interest to things. But first, I need to get my yellow. Let's go with a nice warm yellow. And I'm gonna highlight it up to a pale yellow. And probably keep some transparent yellow on hand, maybe to brighten it up later. So warm yellow first. Again, using paints that I've never tried before. I'm not sure how the coverage is from this, but we'll find out. I'm not sure how well mixed that is either. Oh, that is a pretty gorgeous color. Okay, so a little bit of that with the white. There we go. So the other reason I don't paint yellow over gray or any cool color ever is that when you do that to yellow, it turns green. And I once had a time when I was working on a cosplay, and I was painting yellow over silver, which is basically metallic gray. And because of that, I just couldn't figure out why the color I was painting just looked so strange. But this is yellow with just like one coat over pink. As you can tell, it's a lot warmer, a lot more brighter and saturated. So I'm being a little bit more careful this time than I was with the original white. But freehand is not my forte. It's nothing that I really practice. But if you want to get really good at it, you need to practice a lot. Just to get a good brush control down. Maybe I'll paint in some interesting marks on the head. Is it later on? That being said, no matter what you're working on, don't be afraid to get it wrong. Even a pro painter has to get things wrong before they can get it right. So it's sometimes just a matter of putting paint on, figuring out why it looks the way it does, and adjusting that. Knowing how to adjust things and work with that is what makes a pro painter a pro painter. Sure, when you put things down and sketch out the ideas, it's gonna be a lot faster and a lot cleaner, and they're gonna have that experience over any of you newbie painters, but it doesn't mean they get things right at the start. Because sometimes painting isn't just about painting, it's about having your artistic concept portrait. And sometimes it just takes a little bit of time to go back and forth and adjust how it looks. Especially when you're working on something that's going to be for a contest or something important. Like, good enough is a great way to get things on the table, but if you have the time and you're willing to put in the effort, I think that going back and forth to tweak things is a really important part of being a painter. Sometimes you need to challenge yourself. Because if you don't challenge yourself, you're gonna spend like what 10, 20 years painting but see no real improvement in what you're doing. And if that's something that you're happy with, sure. But for me in general, if I'm gonna spend 10, 20 years doing something or for any length of time, I wanna try and get better at doing things to a standard that I'm happy with. Oh, it's kinda cute. Look at him. Just, just gonna extend that stripe down further. Look so happy to be pink. That is just the cutest. I wonder what noises a happy lizard makes. Like, do Komodo dragons make noises? Like cute noises? I know alligators make cute noises. I'm not so sure about Komodo dragons. And if you guys have not heard the noises that baby alligators make, you need to be searching that right now. Because they just make the cutest noises. Yeah, they make pew pew noises. Like, no one believed me until they actually went and go listen to the noises. But they sound like a blaster fight. It's just cute. Guess this Komodo dragon makes pew pew noises when it's happy. Even if it doesn't, it does now. Look at him. It's cute. Okay, I'm not sure what kind of markings it would have, but let me just make the entire portion around its nose yellow. Thinking about it though, I've been painting a lot of yellow recently. Whether it's like painting that yellow ochre fabric on the last stream or painting yellow stripes on a Komodo dragon this stream. I have to say that having other people pick my color schemes for me really helps me challenge myself. And that's a good thing, I think. Maybe not so much for more experienced painters that are cringing if they watch me paint this horribly. Just base coats. Go in and blend that. Pink a little bit more. I have no idea what color a Komodo dragon's tongue is. You hate working with quilt patterns? Physician is fun. Until you actually have to be precise. Okay, we got that thing, and I want a bright white. Okay, where's my pale pink? Probably gone missing now that I actually need it. That's how these things work. You know what? Let me mix pale yellow in there. Notice that when I mix the pale yellow in as compared to the white, the pink that shows up is much more saturated than a lot more pinker, I would say, than the pale baby pink. Okay. I think this should be the only part of the lizard that's less saturated, so I'll go over with the burnt sienna. A little bit of the yellow mixed in. And I still have a little bit of magenta on my brush, and this is about something a little bit more pink, which is okay. I will admit that half the time when I'm picking a color to use on a miniature, it's because I'm too lazy to take something out and edit to the palette. So I tend to just use what I already have on there and mix something up as I go. Yes! The internet is behaving today. That is something to be pleased about. Okay, if I add that burnt sienna, it looks a little bit too much like flesh tones. And it's a little bit too creepy for me. Nope, nope, nope. Let's go. Pink. There is only pink and less pink. Nothing else in between. I think the real life Komodo dragons wish they could be this fabulous. Sadly, they are drab and boring and likely to get run over by truck for walking in the middle of the highway. Or scare cyclists in a park somewhere. Just warming this pink up a little bit. Okay, so what I'm gonna try next is it's probably gonna be a terrible, terrible idea. But if I recall, reptile eyes are normally entirely colored with like that one vertical slit for the pupil. So I'm kind of just gonna paint in the eyes with a yellow first. And see if I can draw a black line later. Very ambitious, I know. As you can tell, I missed it and kind of dotted outside the eye. Just wash off my brush and wipe that clean. And kind of failed at that. Because I still have too much yellow in my brush. Oh, it's a lot of yellow. Yeah, really need to do a brush clean after this. I think I need to do a little bit more of this. Get the focus. There we go. A little bit more in there. It's actually not too bad. Try to paint it, drag it a little wider so that if I want to paint that line later on, it's going to be easier. Though I do have to say it looks pretty good right now. All things considered. Do a photo shoot for this Komodo dragon when you're done. I don't know, will I ever be done with this? I feel like just painting it has taught me a lot about paint, and I kind of want to like tweak a lot more parts. Like the more I look at it. Like the claws, for example, they're kind of like they just quick and dirty, pale yellow highlight. So like I feel like there's maybe a better way I could do this color scheme. But it's pretty cute. Okay, ignoring that, I should get back to work on the yellow portion. Like my problem with miniature painting is that I'm a bit too much of a perfectionist. So painting has actually helped me a lot with that. So, matter of just getting things done, as long as they look okay at the table. But this means that when I'm painting, I tend to go, does this look like this? Which can be annoying for my friends, I guess. It's also a lot of commentary, which is, I guess, it's a good thing I'm streaming then. Just give him some cute jowls or chubby cheeks. It's cute chubby cheeks. Little chubs. Chubster. Perfect. I'm gonna let him dry before I kill myself trying to do some insect eyes. And I think I could jump back over to the wall ball. I know there were things I wanted to work on the wall ball. Just kind of like do some quick highlights on the hooves so that they look shiny. Just one line. Oops. That should have been differently shaped. H highlight. And another H highlight. Much better. Should go in with a little bit of weight around the mouth. I think it looks a little bit weird, but it will look better after it dries a bit and gets darker. Yeah, definitely some flesh tones in there. Ten more minutes to skin and process that wall ball. Refine. I need some tinning in here. I think that one of these days I may try shooting like a time-lapse video of me painting and see how that turns out. Terribly, I'm sure, but it might be cool to look at. It means that I can, share content even on days where I'm not streaming. And this wobble is pokey. Those lines, hairs, like bristleback. Okay. Time has come, and there is to draw a straight line on an eyeball. Uh, can I do this? I don't know. Let's try drawing a straight line on my hand. Huh. That doesn't look terrible. Can you guys see it? Okay, it's not really obvious that there's a black line there, but it's a really thin black line as compared to a thick black line, I suppose. Okay. Brace my hands. Test on my... Okay, it looks slightly moe. Actually, I think I want to go back in for the dark gray. around the edges of the. Okay. It's not super obvious, but there's like a line in his eyes. Looks slightly sad or lazy. Gonna take this pale yellow and see if I can kind of dot the yellow on either side of the black line to bring it out. I'm not sure if that worked, but I feel cross-eyed. Okay, maybe I should thicken the black line. Moments before disaster, indeed. Okay, I'm just gonna leave misses. Not the worst. Still so much yellow in my poor paintbrush. A little bit of the crap, just thicken this line. Speaking of MOE, I've been picking up a new survival game whose acronym is MOE. And it's really interesting when I tell people what I'm playing in short form. Who knows, maybe I'll stream that or something. And then you can watch me learn the game and be better at it. Okay, all done. Take my gloves off and set things up to dry. So we has our rhino fan, boar fan. I don't think people want to watch me be moe. That sounds actually pretty disturbing, to be honest. I think people would rather watch Crimson be moe. Come on. That's what they tune in for, like the hat and the moe and the acting cute and stream. See, Chombe agrees that he doesn't want me to see me be moe. What if enough people follow and sub? I don't think that's gonna happen either. Like, I'm just not cut out for moe. Can't do cute. Very uncute. It doesn't suit my personality at all. Like, I don't think it's anything that I really do that's like moe by default. Unlike Crimson, who makes strange noises when he falls over. And can't even clean a room without making like strangely cute noises. Okay, either way, if you didn't catch it earlier, I said that I won't be streaming at this time next week. But I might be doing a makeup stream for it. We'll see about that, depending on how busy we are during the week. But next week, if instead of watching the stream, you want to come hang out with us, we're actually going to be running D&D games in person at our studio. So you can come like check out our place and stare at Crimson's armor in person, which I think will be pretty fun. So if you ever wanted to have me run a game for you, D&D in fact, then that's a good time to make your way down to our office. Just because both Crimson and I are going to be running games for beginners. So if you want to get your friends to try out D&D, that's a great time for it. I've not decided on what I'm going to be running, but I am considering running something that's like super cute. And may include some of the stuff that I just painted today. Oh, kind of upside down. Go to the right side, lizard. And like most importantly, I'm kind of excited to see our friends who have not been able to play with us in forever. So actually get a chance to play with us in person with my very pretty, very shiny, not very well painted terrain. Then keep an eye out on social media because we're gonna be making some announcements soon as for that. But until then, thank you guys for tuning in. And if you haven't followed, please be sure to follow me right now. Down below, just click follow. You don't have to click sub, but if you click sub, then thanks for supporting us. Either way, I'm really glad to have all of you guys tune in with me and keep me company while I'm painting in a very boring manner. So yes, good night and beware of the Omicron.